to complete the pairs. Not all tiles will be used. Match each set of features to the corresponding quadratic function. Well, before I get going on this, I just want to say that I know that but in this perspective, let's still use Desmos to help us. We do need to be aware that a minimum value is a high point in the graph, and there are certain characteristics in the equations that can tell us that. But if we can look at the picture, then certainly I think it'll be helpful for us to be able to identify Desmos. And we're going to take a look at these equations, and then we can answer the question. So let's turn on the first graph here. So here is this picture, and what I see is that this point right here, -1, -4, is the lowest point on that graph. So since it's a low point, it's going to be a minimum, and we would identify that minimum of a value of -4. The other pieces of information that are important are the x-intercept here, and an x-intercept here, so 1 and -3, which also coincidentally happens to be -3. Look at this. We know we have a minimum value, and there's only two choices that have the minimums, and then y-intercept of -3, and then x-intercept of -3, 0, and 1, 0. First, fill in. Get rid of that one, and we can turn this function on. And just scooting that up a little bit, we have a high point in this particular graph, and our high point is at this particular point. And again, we identify that with the y value. It's a high point, the y value. Our x-intercepts are -1 and -3, and by the way, I should have said a high point of +1 instead of -1. But our y-intercept is going to be -3 again. So we're going to have a maximum, and when we go back and look, we might have to flip back again, but a maximum value. And our maximum value again is 1. So is 1, the y-intercept is -3, and our x-intercepts are -1 and -3. Yes. So one more equation to look at. So we'll get rid of this one, and we'll an upside down U-shaped curve. And a U-shaped curve is called a quadratic. We have a high point in the graph. It is this point right here. And again, high value of that point, which you can't see on my screen until I scoot it down. But it is 4, x-intercept of 1 and x-intercept of 5, and then we have a y-intercept of -5. So when we go back to Edmentum, we can look at our choices here, and it's a maximum value. And one more time, the maximum value of 4. The only place where we have a maximum value of 4 is this option here. We do have a y-intercept of -5, as well as the x-intercepts of 1 and 5. That clearly, even though I didn't read them that way, they wrote the x-intercepts and the y-intercepts